Let's roll. Level 3 has begun. This is SportsRage. I am Morency. The pistol parts, also some people to bust them, and everybody else in between. We're kicking it. Mo Khan's going to step up and in. Mo is on his way home right now from Monday Night Raw, in which I assume is over. It's midnight Eastern time. So Monday Night Raw was in Montreal tonight, which I completely... Oh, here it is on TV, actually. The replay starting... Oh, it's starting right now. Perfect. Dodger game is during a commercial break right now. Let me see what's going on, and let's see Montreal. Right away, they're showing outside the Bell Center. Go Habs, go. It's my hometown, which I haven't lived in like 20 years, 25 years or something. 20 plus years, a long time. It's weird. I go back to Montreal. It doesn't really feel like it is, but when I see it, I'm like, yeah, I guess it is. And there's Sami Zayn from Montreal taking on Chad Gable. I actually saw last night. I was watching. I was in the studio all weekend recording. I'm doing a metal project, hard rock metal, not Homicide, but a more hard rock project. But I was in studio all weekend. So I got home last night. I was watching TV late Sunday night, and the WWE, what's it called? Something Treasures? Most Valuable Treasures. It was a very cool show, actually. They produce a ton of content. A lot of it's really good. It was a really cool show. It was it's about the memorabilia, like the boots that they were wearing or the jacket or whatnot. And they go to the wrestler's house and they tell stories about the gear and stuff like that. It was really cool. Like they had one of the Steiner brothers on, Rick Steiner. And shout out to everyone joining us on Sirius XM Channel 159 on the SportsGrid Radio and Television Networks. I am Gabriel Morency. We're kicking it here. Mo Khan's going to step up and join us in a couple of minutes. We're going to run the gauntlet with Mo. We'll talk WNBA draft tonight. I'll get into. The NFL draft is up next. That's next week, guys. NFL draft is around the corner. Our boy Mo Khan he was at Monday Night Raw tonight. Raw was in Montreal. So we'll get an update from Mo Khan. NBA playoffs. We haven't spent too much time on the playoff games, the play-in stuff tomorrow. But what was the show? What's the show called? Lost Treasures, maybe? Whatever the hell it is. It's on A&E. It's on Sunday nights, and it's cool stuff. Like they had the Michigan jacket. I'm surprised he sold it. Like basically, it's like a bidding show. So like Lita, the former wrestler, goes to like wrestlers' houses and stuff, retired wrestlers' houses, and shakes them down for their memorabilia. And all these guys are broke, so they all want the money. So, like, Rick Steiner sold, he sold his headgear for $5,000. And I was surprised he sold the Michigan jacket. He didn't want to do it at first, but he ended up selling the Michigan jacket. Who else was on the show last night? It was pretty cool. I didn't see it all. I saw, like, the last 40 minutes of it, but I enjoyed it. And who else was on it? It was they had the Steiners and who else? It was someone else too. There was a bunch of wrestlers, but it's cool seeing these things. Oh, it was Scott Hall's son. So they went to Scott Hall's kid's place, Razor Ramon, and they went to his place, and he took out all the stuff, all his dad's stuff that he had, and it was pretty cool seeing that, Very, very good show. So I see Rhea Ripley. I believe that's her name. I know she's Ripley, and she is ripped. She's leading off the show here right now on Monday Night Raw. Like I said, I look forward to Mo's review of this. One last quick thing about wrestling. We're going to bring our AM radio affiliate in a minute. I see that everyone follows wrestling. A lot of people love CM Punk. I had CM Punk on SportsRage once. He was cool. He's one of those dudes, though. It's like, wow, you wonder why, he's so big, but he is, right? People just seem to resonate with him for whatever reason. But, of course, he attacked Jungle Boy. Who was it? Matthew Perry's kid? Jack Perry, right? And the All Elite, wrestling marks know what I'm talking about and stuff. But nobody ever saw it before, right? Nobody saw CM Punk attacking Perry backstage. And for whatever reason, Tony Khan thought it would be a good idea. Well, he's trying to get ratings. But let me tell you, Tony, All right? Number one, it's never a good look if you're trying to get ratings from a dude that left you for another company, that's in another company and is bigger than you. Like you're hanging on. And number two, the video is just so stupid. They hyped it up like it was some big thing. My band Homicide have had bigger fights than that CM Punk and Jack Perry did. Like, whatever, dude. CM Punk pushed them. They're wrestlers. Oh, my God. Shocking. Like, Tony Khan said he was fearing for his life. Like, really? Really, bro? Go out and hang out with your Jacksonville Jaguar players at a nightclub. You want to feel for your life? Then you'll probably be scared, Tony. But yeah, you were scared by that? Like, everybody just looks so punkish from that. Like, really? And CM Punk ends up winning again because you pumped him up. Like, Wrestling 101, Tony. Let's roll. Level 3 has begun. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. Shout out to all of our AM radio affiliates who are stepping up and in. Some of you with us, the new ones joining us right now. Welcome to the show. This is SportsRage. The Pips, the Players, Officers, the people, the bus, and everybody else in between. SportsGrid radio and television networks, many affiliates, apps, platforms, pretty much everywhere. And shout out to everybody in SoCal, the Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio. SoCal in the house. Our boy Mo Khan will step up and in a couple of minutes. We'll get a review of Monday Night Raw, as Mo was in attendance tonight, Monday Night Raw. And we're also going to get into the WNBA draft. The NFL draft is rapidly approaching right now. The NBA play-in set to begin less than 24 hours from now. The Lakers and the Pelicans. It's go time. Great night of basketball tomorrow night with the Kings and Warriors. The Dodgers and the Nationals are going on right now. As we speak at Chavez Ravine, Tyler Glasnow got roughed up by the Nationals. The Dodgers closed at nearly minus 400 favorites tonight, minus 390. They're losing 6-3 in the bottom of the seventh inning right now. But, you know, there's still life in this baseball team, you know, with the bats that they have. The WNBA draft took center stage tonight at the Brooklyn Academy for Musical Arts. It's the first time ever that they sold tickets to the WNBA draft. It sold out in 15 minutes. There was a lineup around the block for hours. The hype was real. And it was a smoke show, literally and figuratively. Like, the women's players that carried the mantle through the NCAA tournament just carried it tonight. I'm curious to see the ratings, actually, for this draft. And not just about Caitlin Clark. And even the players, the former WNBA players and the coaches that were on the panel, you know, all said the same thing. Right? They said, man, not only are these players, like, really, really, really good, they're also smoking hot off the court, right? Like, it was sort of that elephant in the room. It's like, yeah, I know it's about sports. You're not supposed to say it, but someone's got to come out and say it. So I'm glad the ladies did. I'm glad the ladies did. But, man, the Chicago Sky, you got Cordosa and Angel Reese. We'll break it down and more on the other side. This is SportsRage.
People that bashed him will be eating their words this year.
Pretty heavily favored to be a first-round pick, minus 400 earlier this week. But that's not the surprise.
If you're drafting J.J. McCarthy in the first half of the first round, you clearly believe not only is he a starter, he's going to be your starter for years to come. But
a popular bet was under 3.5 wide receivers in the first round.
The tape doesn't lie, baby.
Only on SportsGrid.
There's going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than game time decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Jason Tatum has games where he has stinkers. He shoots a 4 for 16. Jaylen Brown in the playoffs gets exposed because he can't go left. Porzingis gets old. Sometimes Jrue Holiday's not consistent. Al Horford father time to catch up. That being said, I still think they're going to the NBA Finals and winning it. And I'm a Knicks fan. I hate the Celtics to win it. all of my might.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I mean, they're still the best. They're still the champs. Everyone wants to crown the Celtics the champions, but that's not the way it works. They got to beat them. And, they got to get through the East, which isn't going to be fun to begin with. Everyone thinks it's so automatic.
If it's just Boris is kind of losing his power, if whatever his tactics have been, yeah, move on.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Memphis owns it. They beat them 5 straight times. And Memphis is awful. So what does that say about the Bucks? They are the most overrated team in the NBA, hands down.
Michigan and Boston College, there's going to be goals scored in this game. But, with that being stated, the total's up to 7.5 right now. I got to go under 7.5 here, Scott.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Let's do this thing on the Jackie Robinson Day in Major League Baseball, the anniversary. So Jackie Robinson, of course, everybody's wearing number 42 today, which is a pretty lame day for the Dodgers to choose to lose. All right, on Jackie Robinson Day today, hosting the Washington Nationals right now. It's 6-3 in the bottom of the 7th inning. But we have a lot of people tuning in San Diego right now. They're happy the Dodgers are losing this game, but we have a lot of degenerate bettors that are not happy because the Dodgers are at the back end of everybody's parlays. And the sports books, no doubt, right now are smoking a big fat cigar, hoping that the Washington Nationals can hang on. All right, before we bring Mo Khan in, so WNBA draft tonight, we posted our picks for the draft. We ended up going 3-2. I was surprised that the Peely girl from Utah went as high as she did. I thought she wouldn't go in the top 9, but she did. The draft was explosive. I'm curious to see the television ratings. We know how big the numbers were for the games in the NCAA tournament, but the women delivered tonight. It was an entertaining show. And the WNBA, which is really cool about this, is their season starts pretty soon. So they can ride this momentum. It starts May 14th. So it's less than a month away from the draft. It's a quick turnaround to put these players and integrate them into the teams. But these teams really redid themselves tonight. So, of course, there's more than just Caitlin Clark. So Caitlin Clark, of course, goes number 1 to the Indiana Fever. The Los Angeles Sparks, who are kind of a train wreck behind the scenes. Nobody wants to play for them. Abusive conduct, blah, blah, like all this. They're starting from scratch here. Everybody left. They're starting from scratch. And they had the 2nd and the 4th pick of the draft, so they need to get this right. And they took Cameron Brink from Stanford with a 2nd pick, and they took Rakia Jackson with the 4th pick out of Tennessee. Great point guard, tall, long, wiry girl. She can play multiple positions. And Cameron Brink, kind of like an AD, like similar to the Sparks and Lakers. She's going to give you 17 points, bunch of rebounds, great shot blocker, defensive player. So they did a great job retooling here. You got a great point guard, like the 1-2 combo. Nice retooling job. But how about what the Chicago Sky did in getting Camila Cardoso, the girl from South Carolina, Brazilian girl, 6'7". She's a monster, and she's really like competitive. Like you see her swat shots and like mean mug you after. And they get Angel Reese. Unbelievable, like the Chicago Sky, greatly improved. Let's bring in Mo Khan right now, who was at Monday Night Raw tonight. A lot of stuff to get to. Mo, before we get to the WNBA draft, the NFL draft, the NBA playoffs, and NHL playoffs, Monday Night Raw tonight. Our boy Pat McAfee was in the building. How did things go tonight at the Bell Center in Montreal?
Big crowd, 15,000 fans at the Bell Center. It was loud. Sami Zayn was the main event, local Montrealer, and he won, beating Gable in the main event. Compared to weeks past where in lead up to Mania, The Rock was there, CM Punk, all the big hitters. This is more of like we just got over the hill with the quality of Sami Zayn. Cody Rhodes made a quick appearance for about a couple minutes here. The Uso fought. I mean, it was okay Raw from a star power appeal. Fans were into it. 3 hours, maybe a little bit too long for Raw. We'll see what they do with Netflix if they go maybe 2 hours moving forward. But like now they're building up towards the summer storylines for what they want to do going towards May. And of course, the big one is SummerSlam in early August.
Yeah, it's a good point, though, that you just stated. So, like, we all know probably the coolest, like, you have WrestleMania, but if you don't go to WrestleMania, the coolest show after, everybody from WrestleMania is in the building the next night, right, for Monday Night Raw?
Yeah.
You're getting the week after right now. People need a break.
That's right.
So you got the locals, right? They're like, all right, how do we maneuver this card? Just quickly on this, and it's funny because wrestling and sports, you see sports sites cover wrestling so much now, and it's so intertwined. But I was just saying quickly about the CM Punk stuff and All Elite. They hyped up that stuff last week. Number one, it's stupid. You're hyping up somebody that's not in your company anymore, all right? Like Tony, I don't understand. Like, Tony Khan's a nice guy. His heart's in the right place and all this. But, like, really, I don't understand how he doesn't get a lot of this stuff. So you're hyping up someone that's not in the company anymore. You hype, number two, that's number one. Number two, you hype this up so much, like, oh, my God, everybody needs to see it. So you're trying to get a ratings pop to see this video. Dude, the video sucked, Mo. There was nothing there. Like, old school WWF guys, like, they're laughing their ass up. Like, they had real fights, bro. Like, these guys were, like, you know what I mean? Hitting each other, like, over the head with, like, baseball bats backstage for real. like really going at it. Like, and Vince didn't care. He didn't fire everybody. And all my life, it's like, no, it's boys being boys, and that's the backstage of a wrestling room. Everyone's on roids. Half of them are coked up, and whatever, man. Don't piss that someone off, and you'll be fine, right? I mean, there was a different code. CM Punk pushed them. Like, he pushed them, and I don't know, I guess he choked them a little bit, in a headlock, whatever. So it was stupid to show it because – number three, it makes Jack Perry, who's in your company, look weak. So you buried the guy. You buried the guy in your company. You bigged up the guy not in your company. And I'm not even Errol Houani, and I know this, okay? And you bigged up the other guy in the company. And then you show it, and it's just stupidly boring and dumb. And then it completely backfires on you because people in the building all start chanting CM Punk. Like, it could not have been a bigger failure for them. Like, they really handed the WWE a win with all this, the way they're operating recently. And my last thing about this is I don't even know anything about this Will Ospreay kid or anything about this. He seems to be talented and stuff, but Will, don't get caught up in stuff with this stupid feud between the WWE and All Elite, because you want to be in a WWE down the road, kid. And you calling out Triple H for banging Stephanie McMahon is not the way to get in. Okay? So,
no. Of course
I'm
not.
just stating, what did you think of the CM Punk stuff?
Well, I think AEW is wreaking a desperation game. Some of their main
That's what it felt
crowds
like
for the main event. Yeah, they've been hitting like 4,000 on their Prime Wednesday show on TNT and TBS. And they're in trouble. I think they're in trouble because they know that momentum, as you said before, is now on WWE's side. They're hitting major profit margins with WWE under new ownership and what they've done with this new approach under Triple H. I think for Tony Khan, like he had momentum, Gabe, back in 2019 because people wanted to see a rival towards WWE, and they thought AEW would provide that. But unfortunately, COVID came and kind of stunted their development. And when they came out of it, they were in all sorts of different directions, almost like WCW in the late 90s, bringing all these big-name star power guys who were past their prime.
You just nailed it, bro.
They're
like a band.
And the thing is, Gabe, right?
That you guys, you have no direction. Like, what are you? Right? Like you said, the whole thing that made them popular was an alternative to the glamour and the commercialism that is the WWE, right? It's a big-time rock concert. It's a great production and all that. But some people like that old indie feel, and you know what I mean? And the second you get away from that and you start giving money to other people, you just become a knockoff of that, right? Like signing former WWE stars, not the way to go. And the last thing I'll say, though, Mo, they shouldn't. That's the crowds that they should get. Like, they shouldn't expect to get 10,000 people in 15. Like, the WWE is an apparatus that can pull this off because they've been doing this for 50 years and touring, and they understand how to do it, right? Like, getting 4,000 people a night is not a shame, right? But it's stupid if you're doing it in bigger buildings. Like, book yourself in smaller buildings, fill it up. Yeah, because everything's made for TV anyways. So it's like Dana White said years ago. It doesn't matter whether it's 400 people, 40,000 people, or 4,000 people here. We still get paid for the television network. And that's how you have to think of it. It's like a bowl game, right? Like, you're about TV. Yeah. Don't worry about trying to sell tickets live.
You're right. And I think two moments here. I think Cody Rhodes leaving AEW for WWE was a massive blow because he went to AEW to kind of build up and kind of bleep you towards WWE and Triple H.
And he saw that Tony Khan couldn't pull it off. He couldn't.
And then the second thing, you made a great point about these arenas, right? They're getting more fans at Arizona Coyote home games than they are at AEW fights. Think about that.
That's why they're going to Salt Lake, baby.
People that bashed him will be eating their words this year.
Pretty heavily favored to be a first-round pick, minus 400 earlier this week. But that's not the surprise.
If you're drafting J.J. McCarthy in the first half of the first round, you clearly believe not only is he a starter, he's going to be your starter for years to come. But
a popular bet was under 3.5 wide receivers in the first round.
The tape doesn't lie, baby.
Only on SportsGrid.
There's going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Jason Tatum has games where he has stinkers. He shoots a 4 for 16. Jaylen Brown in the playoffs gets exposed because he can't go left. Porzingis gets old. Sometimes Drew Holiday's not consistent. Al Horford father time to catch up. That being said, I still think they're going to the NBA Finals and winning it. And I'm a Knicks fan. I hate the Celtics with all of my might.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I mean, they're still the best. They're still the champs. Everyone wants to crown the Celtics the champions, but that's not the way it works. They got to beat them. And, they got to get through the East, which isn't going to be fun to begin with. Everyone thinks it's so automatic.
If it's just Boris is kind of losing his power, if whatever his tactics have been, move on.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Memphis owns it. They beat them 5 straight times. And Memphis is awful. So what does that say about the Bucks? They're the most overrated team in the NBA, hands down.
Michigan and Boston College, there's going to be goals scored in this game. But, with that being stated, the total's up to 7.5 right now. I got to go under 7.5 here, Scott.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
This is Sports Rage. I'm Morency. Let's do this thing. All right, we had our wrestling review from Mo Khan. But WNBA draft tonight, as I was saying, Mo. So the Indiana Fever get Caitlin Clark as expected. But the LA Sparks had the second pick and the fourth pick. They get Cameron Brink and they get Rickea Jackson. So they get a point guard, they get a center. Good way to rebuild a franchise organization. They signed, they got Kia Nurse as well. Going to play for the Sparks now. It's a rebuilding team. They had a culture issue with management and behind the scenes, I don't know, abusive patterns and blah, whatever. It was a toxic work environment. I guess is the best way of putting it. Right. Which, like, people got fired, quit, and players were like, I'm out of here. It's a mess here. No one was, like, abused physically. Like, I'm just saying, like, and it was a toxic environment, and there was, like, lawsuits and stuff. So they're rebuilding. They're trying to start from scratch here. Kia Nurse is a good player, but Cameron Brink is a badass. And Rickea Jackson's really, really, really good. Everyone talks about Kayla all the time. There's more players than just her. She's great. But how about the Chicago Sky? They get Camila Cardosa, who's 6'7", and they didn't have anybody taller than 6'4" on their roster as is. So they got some size. And then, boom, they get Angel Reese as well. So the WNBA, man, the draft delivered tonight, and there's some excitement about these teams and how these players are going to fit in. Aaliyah Edwards goes to Washington, but what do you think of the WNBA draft tonight?
Well, first and foremost, you're bang on. I think the TV number would be massive for this draft on a Monday night where you're really not going up against the NBA playoffs yet and NHL's at this end. So they're going to do really well at the TV number. And I just think from the Chicago Sky's draft board, they got edgier, they got physical, they brought in two badasses, pardon my language, from the SEC. That's going to bring that toughness, that Chicago toughness that's been lacking for the Sky for many years. I think the Sparks have done really well for themselves. But here's a quick stat for you here, Gabe. I don't know if you know this, right? For Caitlin Clark now to go to Indiana Fever, I believe 85% of the games will be on national TV. So think about
36 of the 40.
Right. So think about the exposure that they're going to get now, right? The league and for the Indiana Fever. They were saying, I think Darren Rovell said, that Fanatics sold out in the first hour, all of its allotment of jerseys for Caitlin Clark for the Indiana Fever in the first hour alone. So this is going to be a precipice of major gains, inroads for merchandise, TV numbers, and hopefully the quality play being up there, which we all think will be the case for the WNBA, because this is going to be fun to watch, Gabe, during the spring and summer months of the season.
They really will. And the fact that there's not a long wait, Mo, is really, really beneficial for the WNBA. They can carry this Caitlin Clark stuff right in. Like, it starts May 14th. It's less than a month away. So the season starts like boom. And as we saw tonight, and it's going to be annoying, but Caitlin Clark is she's getting the Curry treatment, whatever. She's the new State Farm pitch woman. Jake from State Farm was there. She had the billboards up in Times Square. So she's going to get the push on TV, so she's not going to be out of mind. You know what I mean, Mo? She's going to be in a lot of commercials, Nike commercials, State Farm commercials. So she's going to be in commercials during the NBA playoffs leading into their tip-off May 14th. Quick turnaround. And like you said, it's going to be cool with these teams and the Las Vegas Aces, seeing all these kids come into the league, right? and how the Aces, and don't forget, man, you got the Liberty that are locked and loaded. And we got some regular season win totals popping up here. Indiana Fever, 22.5 over under. It's a 40-game season now. First time ever doing 40 games this year, Mo. Sportsbooks have the Fever over under 22.5 games.
I think they're going 24. I think they have, they got Leah Boston in the draft last year. They're probably two or three players away from being competitive in the East. So I think 24 wins is realistic for them. So they won the over on that line.
They won 13 last year, just for the record, for everybody.
Yeah.
So they won 13.
They'll be improved where I think they'll get 24. Yeah, I'll go 24.
Really? I ain't going to say that much of an improvement with Caitlin.
Well, I think it's Caitlin Frost, but Caitlin with what she's done, I beg your pardon, but like Caitlin Clark for what she is. But I think Aaliyah Boss is going to be key for this team because they got her last year. She's a big out there, and she brings a lot of edge, and she didn't have anyone to work with. And now with Caitlin on board here, it's going to make them a lot more dynamic to really spread open the court, and she will benefit from that presence alone from the perimeter, that she can now work the paint to her advantage for the rebounding and on those one-on-ones that she will get down low.
Pretty crazy. The Seattle Storm actually had less wins. So did the Phoenix Mercury last year. But the Fever end up with the top pick, 13-27 last year. There's going to be all kinds of Caitlin Clark props. They only have the Indiana Fever up right now, but the season starts May 14th. So as I stated, it's going to be cool. People are going to follow the WNBA more than they have in the past, and I think it'll continue. I think we'll see next year as well. Women's game will be big. They'll pimp up the new stars. You got Juju Watkins. You got Paige Beckers. Beckers will be the face of college basketball. And they'll see that women want to watch, and men will watch women's basketball. So I think they'll want to make money off it. They're going to hype up the next stars next year.
You know what's going to happen, Gabe? What's going to happen is that with Juju and Paige coming in the draft in the next couple of years, right, the WNBA is going to want to increase the number of games that they play, right, from 40 to 45 to 50. And that's going to give more power to the PA to get better salaries that's been lacking for these players, Gabe. Right now they realize that, look, revenue's going to go up here. The players are going to want a piece of that pie. It's going to be fascinating to see how this plays out the coming years of how much they will generate from a money standpoint for the league. The players are going to say, hey, we've earned the right now to get better pay than what we've been paid the last few years.
Man, it's the Caitlin, say what you will, but it's the Caitlin Clark factor.
Yeah.
Look, they're already selling out buildings. I mean, look, they're, like you said, if you're a WNBA player, and it's fine, you want to support the league and you understand the financial structure of the league and the restraints that they face, but it's harder for them to say that when they're looking. It's like, well, there's 20,000 people in the arena now. There's not 2,000 here like the old days, right? There's 18,000 here now, right? Like, and guys, it's not just Caitlin Clark. The Las Vegas Aces have sold out their season tickets, and every game is sold out this year. They're the first team in a WM. Like they don't have a season ticket for sale. That's the Las Vegas Aces. So it's not just Caitlin Clark that's killing it right now.
No, but the Caitlin Clark game against Vegas in Vegas has been moved to the T-Mobile Arena.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, and that won't be the only one. There'll be other cities. It's like she's like the Messi factor or something now, right? I mean, you're going to get the pop, right? Like Washington's a good example. Like Washington. They don't play where the Wizards play. No, they have their own smaller complex, but they'll move, I'm sure. Everyone's going to start moving their games. Okay, Mo, so NBA playoffs. Let's switch gears, and then we'll hit the NFL draft later. But NBA playoffs set to begin. The Lakers right now, +1 against the Pelicans tomorrow night. Totals 223.5 in this game. How do you think this plays out? Who's going to advance here?
Man, like the Lakers, I'm a little bit worried about them, Gabe. I really believe this is the last run with this core group of guys. I think they've come to the wits' end for what they've tried to do the last 3-4 months of the regular season. I look at the Pelicans, right? They've always, in those one-off games, they play teams tough, and I think they'll play the Lakers tough here. They have that mindset that it's us against the world. No one's really looked at them as being a true contender. And you think about the history with these two teams, Gabe, right? With New Orleans and the Lakers. Those guys who went for Anthony Davis, right? Those guys are still going to be involved in that matchup. They want to prove a point. I think Ingram's a guy that you have to watch out for. McCollum, you look at Zion. These guys have all been there now. But the question is, though, can the Lakers get more consistent play from their supporting cast that's been on and off at times here? And I think now at this point, Gabe, for the other Lakers, this might be a situation where they're one and done for this game and hopefully have to backdoor their way through if they do lose this game on Tuesday night.
I think you're more pessimistic about the Lakers than you should be. The Lakers are hot right now. They've been playing great basketball down the stretch. I have no problem with everybody else on the team. Moving forward, whatever, D'Angelo Russell is going to be gone. He's going to get paid moving forward. And the thing is, they own the Pelicans. Right? Like you talked about, you figure, it's a revenge or whatever. AD didn't want to be there. That was years ago. But, the fact of the matter is the Lakers have beaten them 5 of the last 6 times that they played. They played 4 times this year. Lakers won.
It's
Yeah,
not a best out of
obviously, so-
7, though. That's why.
No, but all right.
Yeah.
Like I said, though, the last 6 times it was a one-off, and the Pelicans beat them once. All right, so I trust the
think
Lakers a lot more than the Pelicans. Pelicans
You
have no
can't.
playoff success. They have C.J. McCollum, who's hot right now.
Yeah.
A lot, and then you come down to the referees, and the fact of the matter is, LeBron knows how to get calls, especially in a one game. See, to me, the Lakers are more dangerous in a shorter situation. Listen, the game's a toss-up, right? I mean, the game's basically a pick 'em for a reason, but the Lakers had a good year. I mean, I don't know what people expect from them. They're 13 games over 500. The West is tough, right? I mean, the East is a joke, and the West is tough. They had a good year. They're 13 games over 500. And in a one-game situation, I trust LeBron to step up here with AD more than I do the guys on the Pelicans. I'm going to be on the Lakers tomorrow night.
I'm leaning towards Pelicans because it's a one-off. If this was a best out of 7, I'd pick the Lakers in 5 or 6. But because of the one-off scenario, because of where this game's being played at, I just think New Orleans has that weird, funky vibe that they can come away in this one-off here to win this matchup here because of how tough they can be on defense. And again, I just wonder for the supporting cast for the Lakers, can they step up here and be an X factor for LeBron and the Lake Show?
People that bashed him will be eating their words this year.
Pretty heavily favored to be a first-round pick, minus 400 earlier this week. But that's not the surprise.
If you're drafting J.J. McCarthy in the first half of the first round, you clearly believe not only is he a starter, he's going to be your starter for years to come. But
A popular bet was under 3.5 wide receivers in the first round.
The tape doesn't lie, baby.
Only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Jason Tatum has games where he has stinkers. He shoots a 4 for 16. Jaylen Brown in the playoffs gets exposed because he can't go left. Porzingis gets old. Sometimes Drew Holiday's not consistent. Al Horford father time can catch up. That being said, I still think they're going to the NBA Finals and winning it. And I'm a Knicks fan. I hate the Celtics with all of my might.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I mean, they're still the best. They're still the champs. Everyone wants to crown the Celtics the champions, but that's not the way it works. They got to beat them. And, they got to get through the East, which isn't going to be fun to begin with. Everyone thinks it's so automatic.
If it's just Boris is kind of losing his power, if whatever his tactics have been, yeah, move on.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Memphis owns it. They beat them 5 straight times. And Memphis is awful. So what does that say about the Bucks? They are the most overrated team in the NBA, hands down.
Michigan and Boston College, there's going to be goals scored in this game. But, with that being stated, the total's up to 7.5 right now. I got to go under 7.5 here, Scott.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Let's roll. Level 3 continues. This is Sports Rage. I am Morency. We're kicking it with the Laker hater, Mo Khan. I didn't realize his disdain for the Lakers that he has. He's talking about them like they're, I don't know about this. They're 40-35. They had a good year. What do you want from them? And a very tough Western Conference, I might add. The Pelicans are a fun team, though. I like the Pelicans. But, I'll disagree. I think in a 1-game, like in a 7-game series, I think the Pelicans would almost have a better chance. Like LeBron and short, like it's sort of like the Lakers when they won the championship a couple of years ago. I don't discredit teams that won in the bubble or no fans or anything like that. But I am going to say, like the Lakers, they had not an advantage because everyone had the same rules, but it helped them. Everybody was off for 4 months, and it was this quick little tournament type of deal. And they didn't have to go through the grind. Like, if you get AD playing every day, every 48 hours, every 72 hours, and LeBron, who's older, then that's, to me, where you can get the Lakers to be vulnerable. But in a 1-game setting, I'll go with the Lakers, but let's move on. Mo's got the Pelicans. I'll take the Lakers. Similar situation in his next game, old versus new, in the Golden State Warriors versus the Sacramento Kings. But the Kings aren't 100%. They've lost some depth, and it's hurt them. And you get Golden State, who, of course, beat them in the playoffs before. They have a nice rivalry going on, these two teams now, in Northern California. What's your pick for the Kings and the Warriors game?
Yeah, Warriors are 9-2 in the last 11, right, in the regular season to finish off strong. My concern for the Warriors is their supporting cast and how older they are. For whatever reason, I watched more Kings games towards the end of the season, and they didn't look as fun or as dominant as the Warriors say last year. Like, De'Aaron Fox is a phenomenal player. But beyond that, and Sabonis, Harrison Barnes, where's he been? But, again, in this one-off here, I would...
Losing Kevin Huerter, Mo. They lost Kevin Huerter and they lost Malik Monk, right? And to people, it sounds like, all right, they're not stars, but, dude, they're big-time players on that team that fill roles for them on that team, and it's hurt them. De'Aaron Fox can only do so much. De'Aaron Fox is worn out.
Yeah, and the thing is, I give a slight edge to the Kings because of where they are right now with the youthful legs. But again, can you discount Steph Curry? The fact that Draymond Green did not score a single point but still had a double-double on the weekend is remarkable. And again, you look at Andrew Wiggins, you look at the supporting cast of the Warriors, they've been playing more effective basketball now, Gabe, than where they were, say, in the middle part of the regular season. And they're thankfully, knock on wood, if you're a Warrior fan, there hasn't been as many controversial headlines with them as of late. So if they can maintain their focus and Steve Kerr can get off to a fast start, that's going to be key for them. They cannot fall behind against the Kings. I give the Kings a slight edge, but I think the Warriors have a chance to pull off that win yet tomorrow night and advance to that next part of the whole playoff bracket of where they want to be.
I think the Warriors are going to win easily. I don't think it's a rout, but they'll roll in there. They'll handle Sacramento. They're 2.5-point road favorites for a reason. Sacramento just don't have the depth and to deal with. Like I said, they're not deep enough to deal with what Golden State's going to throw at them. Wiggins is playing. Wiggins wasn't there most of the year, and Wiggins has had all kinds of stuff going on in his life off the court. But he seems to be focused right now for this run. Makes a big difference for them. Kuminga can give them, 15 points, right? Curry. Curry will carry them. It's the whole thing too, right? When it comes down to these games, it's not really about depth. It's about, your star player is going to show up, point blank, right? I mean, and I think Curry will. Kerr was talking about that actually, about the belief of anytime we have Steph Curry, we're confident. We know we have a shot, but I do believe, listen, the Warriors will be tough as the playoffs go on, but I think they win this game tomorrow. So what's your pick for this one? I'm on the record. I'm taking the Lakers and the Warriors tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going to go Pelicans for sure. I'm going to stick to that. And I'm going to get to the Warriors. But again, I feel like the Kings have that slight edge. Something about De'Aaron Fox. He's a big game player. You're right that his injury reserves are going down because of how much he's played. But he loves these moments here. And I think he'll make it a lot closer for the Kings than what we anticipate should be a win for the Warriors.
And then Wednesday, it's kind of like, after these big-time games. All right, I guess you get the Miami Heat and the Philadelphia 76ers. I guess the first one to 90 wins that game. And then you get the Hawks and the Bulls, in which the Hawks and the Bulls feels like it's like the NIT to the NCAA. Or so it's like how the hell like are the Atlanta Hawks in the playoffs? Like how bad was the Eastern Conference this year? Like that the Hawks.
It's like Monday Night Raw in Montreal, right? The week after Mania. This is what it is.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know. They needed to fill the slot. Yeah, you know what this is?
Yeah.
This is a Dayton play-in. They're like this is like the Texas Southern versus whoever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what we got there. But Miami Heat. I'm going to call it right now, actually, though. Speaking of the WNBA draft, I'm going to call it now. Cardoso and Angel Reese will be courtside here. Chicago Sky will roll them out at the Chicago Bulls game, get them integrated into the Chicago sports scene. So the Chicago Bulls are 3-point favorites against the Hawks, and the 76ers are 4.5-point favorites against the Miami Heat. Everybody thinks that the Heat are just going to flick the switch now that the playoffs are here. The old playoff Heat sign comes on. Now you get the Philadelphia 76ers who, whatever, they get Embiid back, but I don't think either of these teams are a threat moving forward. But it is an interesting matchup.
It is, but look, I think Philly will pull away and they will advance. I think Miami just doesn't have. They're just banged up, Gabe, right? It's sort of been inconsistent basketball from the Heat all season long. I listen to Miami radio almost every day, and you can see the frustration that they have, right? That like they just can't put together a string of domination that they should be compared to where they were last year, as it is for this season. And I think with Embiid back in the fold, it just brings more problems for what he will be on the court to kind of spread out, open the space that they'll have on the court. And I think that the Sixers should win this basketball game and move on to the next round. For Miami, I still think they will advance, no matter how they will fare against Philly. They'll lose that one and win against the Bulls or Hawks. I'm a Bulls fan, Gabe. I'm a depressed Chicago Bulls fan. They're not going to do anything. Like, this is a waste of time for the Bulls and Hawks to play this game because both those teams do not have any clinical edge to them that to win a best out of 7 in the playoffs here. So I think Philly and Miami will both advance to the NBA playoffs, and Chicago will be a one and done along with the Atlanta Hawks at some point as well.
Yeah, I can't really. I don't. I have strong convictions about tomorrow night's games. I look at these games. I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, it's such a train wreck, like you said.
It is.
Yeah. I think the Bulls will win the game, though.
I don't think
I'm gonna
so.
say
Gabe.
I'm going to say the Bulls come through.
Man. I don't think so, Gabe. This Bulls team is too inconsistent. I mean, you think about the Knicks game on Sunday. They had the Knicks on the ropes at times, and the Knicks pulled it off, right? Like you think about that the comical double out that they had.
They stepped up last year, right, in the play-in.
Yeah, but they stepped up because the Raptors were terrible, and they were on the downward swing, right, for where they were. This Bulls team is the exact carbon copy. If not, they've regressed in talent. There's too many comical acts by them.
Yeah, but the Hawks are terrible.
The Hawks are awful themselves, but you know what? They have a little bit more stability right now compared to the inconsistencies of the Bulls. Like, DeMar DeRozan can do what he can do. He can score 25 and get you 12 rebounds. But Kobe White, what's he going to do? Like, is he going to be the good Kobe White or the bad Kobe White that we'll see? And there's too many questions marks about this roster.
You're trying to reverse this. You're trying to reverse the reverse mush it and say, well, you know, I don't have a chance, and then I hope you do.
I'm telling you, like I go into this play-in with no hope for the Bulls. They're not going to do anything, Gabe. Like they're not a good basketball team.
You sound like George Kurtz, who was an Islander fan, was with us earlier. They made the playoffs tonight. He's like, yeah, whatever. We're going to lose to Carolina anyways.
Sure, and if you're and Bulls fans don't like it, under the new regime. They've not done anything to improve this team. They brought these late 20-year-old, 30-year-old players, and it's been the same thing. They've broken even. They've not really been in that category of elite. They've been average.
Well, plus,
and they're stuck with these bad contracts.
Plus, they'd be screwed too, right? They'd get the Celtics.
Yeah, and it's in the best out of 7.
And the Celtics, I think the Celtics could be vulnerable at some point. Like, the Knicks are scrappy enough to get under the Celtics' skin, I think. But yeah, the Celtics and Bulls, it would be ugly. It would just
I'll say this, Gabe.
It would be quick.
Here. The Bulls last year had the Heat on the ropes in the playing game. They had that lead with 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and what happened? The Heat went to the NBA Finals. Leave it at that. Leave it at that.
So you're saying the Hawks are going to the finals? It's the new trend. Okay.
Yeah,
no, he's not saying that. Everybody already has Trae Young out of town, actually. The playoffs are starting. People are already talking about him going to the Pistons, the Spurs. They've already got him out of town. All right, so we got a couple of minutes here, Mo.
Yeah.
We'll do this. We'll go rapid fire. The Cleveland Cavaliers and the Orlando Magic are playing. This is an unlikely, weird sort of series. Like you would figure this, this would be in the play-in, but no, they're the 4 and 5. So you got Cleveland. If Cleveland can't win this playoff series, then they've got real problems. Their coach is already on the hot seat as it is. Donovan Mitchell already has that reputation, fairly or unfairly, about not being able to win in the playoffs. So now you get an upstart Orlando team. This is going to be a fun series, actually. Who do you like to win this one?
I got Cavs winning 6. I think Orlando's a little bit young. I think Wagner, Boncaro, and Cole Anthony, they're a good core group to work with. But I just think right now the Cavaliers have a lot more to play for in terms of their depth and what they've built up, Garland, and, of course, with Mitchell. So I think the Cavs finally get over the hump and get past the first round, and they win this in 6 games.
I think a lot of Cavs fans want them to lose in a way, so the coach does get fired. Because you could argue, like, they need a change of play. They have, like, a team with as many scores as they have shouldn't struggle to score points. So, something's not right with them. But I get the feel, like you said, Orlando, first time in the playoffs in forever. Cleveland should be able to grind this through, but I wouldn't be surprised if it went 7. Phoenix, Minnesota, who you got? This is a fun series. Who you got here?
This is going to be wild, man. I think the T-Wolves win this in 7. You look at Edwards, you look at this Gobert, you look at Cat back in the lineup now. They're fun to watch, but my question is, this T-Wolves seem off the court with their controversy now with A-Rod and Glenn Taylor and what's going on with that. I think the Suns lack the depth right now compared to where the T-Wolves are, but I think the Wolves win this in 7 games.
Yeah, I don't think the players give a crap who signs the checks. Their checks are going to clear anyways. Yeah, well, no matter like whether it's whoever it is, the players they're getting paid. I think the T-Wolves will beat the Phoenix Suns. Personally, I think they're just better. They're younger, they're better, they're faster.
More
I
depth.
think people are a little over more depth. They're better defensively. Like they really should be able to beat them. I mean, everyone talks about Anthony Edwards being the face of the league and the future face of the league and stuff. I think that's a little over excessive, but I think he can really dominate in this series. Dallas and the Clippers. I'm taking the Mavericks to beat the Clippers. Who do you got here?
Mavs are hot, man. They played some playoff basketball since early March to where we are today. I give the edge to the Mavs. I think this goes 7. I think the Clippers right now are a little bit inconsistent for my liking. I think the Mavs have found the right
I don't want to cut you off.
To work with. So going
Bucks
to the
or
Mavericks.
Pacers? 5 seconds. Bucks or Pacers?
Pacers.
I agree. Pacers upset the Bucks in advance. Great stuff, Mo.
Always.
People that bashed him will be eating their words this year.
Pretty heavily favored to be a first-round pick, minus 400 earlier this week. But that's not the surprise.
If you're drafting J.J. McCarthy in the first half of the first round, you clearly believe not only is he a starter, he's going to be your starter for years to come. But
a popular bet was under 3.5 wide receivers in the first round.
The tape doesn't lie, baby.
Only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Jason Tatum has games where he has stinkers. He shoots a 4 for 16. Jaylen Brown in the playoffs gets exposed because he can't go left. Porzingis gets old. Sometimes Drew Holiday's not consistent. Al Horford father time to catch up. That being said, I still think they're going to the NBA Finals and winning it. And I'm a Knicks fan. I hate the Celtics with all of my might.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I mean, they're still the best. They're still the champs. Everyone wants to crown the Celtics the champions, but that's not the way it works. They got to beat them. And, they got to get through the East, which isn't going to be fun to begin with. Everyone thinks it's so automatic.
If it's just Boris is kind of losing his power, if whatever his tactics have been, yeah, move on.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Memphis owns it. They beat them 5 straight times. And Memphis is awful. So what does that say about the Bucks? They're the most overrated team in the NBA, hands down.
Michigan and Boston College, there's going to be goals scored in this game. But, with that being stated, the total's up to 7.5 right now. I got to go under 7.5 here, Scott.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Thanks to Mo Khan and all of our guests tonight. I've got a NBA parlay, speaking of the playoffs. I've got an NBA parlay for you. Series spread. Now, this is sort of safer, right? Now, we're also going to bet these series in other ways, but this is sort of a safer way to attack these series. And here it is, the SportsRage Late Night Shoe-In. Oh, yeah, the shoe-in, baby. The Indiana Pacers are playing the Milwaukee Bucks. I think the Pacers are going to beat the Bucks in this series. All right, they beat them 4 to 5 times that they played in the regular season. I don't want to overemphasize regular season matchups too much, but the Pacers are balling. They're younger. They're faster. The Bucks have bad chemistry. They never should have fired their coach. They won't have the guns to keep up with the Pacers. The Pacers are really confident right now. Halliburton's healthy. Turner's balling. It's funny how many times Turner's been traded, right? But he never has been. He's still there. They brought in Siakam for a reason. And if they don't win the series is going 7, right? It's going to be epic, right? They don't like each other either. But give me the Pacers plus 2.5 games, okay? So basically, they just got to win 2 games. And I win the bet. The Minnesota Timberwolves and the Phoenix Suns, another really fun series. I think the T-Wolves are better. I like the Phoenix Suns. I got a soft spot in my heart for them. I like Durant. I think Booker's a badass. You bring Beal in and stuff. But you're not as good defensively. You're nowhere near as good defensively. The T-Wolves are younger, faster, and better. Let's just call it out for what it is. What's KD going to give you over a 7-game series? I think, is someone going to get hurt on Phoenix between Beal and KD? Are they really going to be on the court the whole time? Gobert, people don't realize how good Minnesota are defensively. Not just Gobert. Minnesota are a big team. They have a lot of big guys. Give it to T-Wolves to win the series, but just in this bet, Pacers plus 2.5 in the series, the T-Wolves plus 2.5 in the series, and the Dallas Mavericks plus 2.5 in the series. Plus 2.5, guys. All right? It's minus 148. We'll have more NBA picks tomorrow. Lakers win, Warriors win tomorrow night. Other than that, you're on your own later.